Okay, now let's look at what defines a successful website, or how you define the success of your digital marketing strategy. A successful website is one that can achieve your business goals while providing a pleasing and a unique experience for users. So, in other words, a successful website or a website strategy is something that can achieve your organizational goals as well as the objectives of the users who are using that website. Now let's come to the organizational goals in the next slide. Now just think as a user, what are the main things that you are trying to achieve by using a particular website? From a user's point of view, there can be mainly four different types of things you want to do, you want to achieve. Your goals or the problems you have could be more of educational, or in other words, you need to find something that you don't know. So your goals could be educational, or the reason why you are visiting a website may be entertainment. We are trying to watch a movie or a song, play a song, watch a song, play a game, that kind of thing. So visiting a website could be some sort of entertainment related activities, or it could be social networking. With most of the time, like most of the social networking sites where you spend time at the moment, your main objective is networking with others, seeing what other people have done, what others are commenting on what you have to say, what kind of discussions happening. So it is more of networking, engagement, social networking. Or it could be transactional. You want to buy something or do a particular activity, do some kind of an exchange with the website. It could result in a monetary transaction or non-monetary transaction. So there is definitely an exchange happening. They give you something, you give them something. So that kind of a transaction. It could be as I said, a e-commerce transaction, or it could be like downloading something. For that you have to give your email address. So that sort of things. So from a user's point of view, the things that you want to achieve or the problems that you want to solve could be educational, entertainment, social networking, or transactional in nature. Mainly, there could be many different variations of this. So that is why you visit a website. That is why you click on an advertisement. That is why you search something on Google, right? But from a company's point of view, what are the things that they want to achieve, they try to achieve by driving traffic, by driving audiences, or by driving visitors to a website or to their social media platform or to their mobile application. Now from a digital marketing point of view, the single most important criteria or the metric that we use as the indicator of the success of your digital strategy, digital campaign, or website is the conversion rate. Now, what is a conversion? Now, from a digital marketing point of view, conversion is actually a visitor who is currently on your website, on your social platform, or on your mobile application. If that visitor is taking an action that leads to the achievement of your organizational objectives, then that is a conversion. So you have predefined organizational objectives for a digital campaign, for a digital strategy, for your digital existence. So if you achieve those objectives due to an action taken by your visitors who are currently on that platform, on your website, that is a conversion. So what are the main type of objectives you as an organization try to achieve? The number one strategy is revenue generation through online sales. If it is an e-commerce website, if it is a website that you sell something to your visitors where they make the payments through a credit card or some other form, then that is an online revenue generation. So all e-commerce companies, e-commerce websites, their number one objective is revenue generation, or it could be lead generation or customer database building. So you want the customer to submit their details, their name, address, email address, contact numbers, and their profile details, demographic or geographic details. So you want them to fill a form on your website, so that you collect the data, and then you later on do further follow-ups or further sale visits or other marketing activities based on the information they submit. Now credit card companies, for example, financial companies, they want people, they educate the people on the website, and for more information, for more deals, for more discounts, or similar other offerings, they collect your information, and they do further follow-ups through emails or over the phone, or visiting your places or whatever. So the second most important objective for that kind of companies, websites, could be lead generation, or it could be ad revenue generation through content publishing. A company which is publishing a lot of articles, videos, they probably don't expect to sell anything online. They don't want to collect your information like lead generation. Their main income source could be selling advertising space for other companies. Now take for example Daily Mirror, or Derana, or Hero.lk, or many other small, news and information content publishing websites that you go through. They are not selling anything, they are not collecting information. The main reason why they want you to visit their website, they want you to consume their content, because they can sell advertisements to the other companies, and they earn advertising revenue. So that could be another objective of an organization, publishing content to their website. Providing customer support services. Now, financial institutions, banks, or any other company who having a broader customer base, it could be a niche base or a broader customer base. Another important reason why they have their website is to provide customer service. These customers come to their website, start an online chat, or FAQ, or contact us page, or product information, how to install a product, how to modify a product, product specification, brand specification, all sort of things. Without just calling you, sometimes they come to your website and find that information. So the main important reason why you have a website for that kind of companies could be providing customer service, customer support. If none of these are your objectives, it could be just your brand. You have a business, and you need to have a website. So that is a branding objective, right? There are a lot of companies internationally as well as locally, they don't do anything, it's just a website only, probably 10-20 pages, or probably more than that, nothing else. But it is there just as a like it's a way of communicating something about the company, the history, the management, the financial statements, and that sort of things through the website. That's purely public relation and branding type of a tool. So these are the main objectives that companies try to achieve through a website. Now, if you go back to the previous slide, from a user's point of view, they try to achieve their educational, entertainment, social networking, and transactional needs. Companies try to achieve these kind of revenue generation, lead generation, ad revenue generation, customer service, or branding objectives through websites. Now, again, a conversion is something the company, the marketing person, the organization achieves their objectives through the website when the users, the visitors, take an action that leads to the achievement of their website. So that is known as a conversion. Now, If I take just this first two examples, or just first one here, revenue generation through online sales, you may not know at the moment, but for most of the e-commerce websites, an acceptable conversion rate is a 2% conversion rate, right? An acceptable rate is a 2% conversion rate. What does that mean? Out of 100 people visiting a website, visiting an e-commerce website, only 2% of them will finally buy something from that website. That means 98 out of 100 may not buy something from your website. So this is like an industry average standard, which is not. If you have an e-commerce site and if your success rate, conversion rate is more than 2%, we normally identify that as a really good conversion rate. If your conversion rate is between 1 to 2%, I call it an average conversion rate. If your website's conversion rate is less than 1%, which means not even one person out of 100 would buy something from your website, that is a below average conversion rate, or there is definitely something need to improve in that website. So 2% is a good, anything above 2% is actually a good conversion rate. So let's take 2%. So does that mean 98 out of 100 people, 2 will buy from your website, 92 will just exit without buying? So all the campaign, the money, effort, time that you spent on driving those 100 visitors to your website, is it wasted now because only 2 are going to buy, 92 of them are not going to buy? So you have spent your time, money, everything, budget, effort, everything to drive those 100 people. So 98 not going to buy. So have you basically wasted everything for those 98 people? What do you think? That is not really the case. Even though 2% of them are going to buy, 90% of them are not going to buy. Those 90% of the people will do a lot of other activities on your website. They will come, they will look at your products, they will talk to their friends, they will subscribe to your email database, they will download your videos, they will download your product descriptions. Sometimes they may submit some reviews on your website. So they do a lot of other interactions on your website. At some point, at a later stage, these customers will become, these users, these visitors will become your customers at some point. So therefore, you should not misunderstand that even though only two, in an e-commerce site only 2% may buy, there are another 98%. Out of those 98% of people, there could be another segment who are actually heavily engaging on your website at a later stage, that will translate into online sales at some point. So therefore, you have to not target not only your revenue transactions, revenue generation transactions, you have to focus, concentrate on other engagement activities as well. Now, from a conversion point of view, we call this main objective as a micro conversion and the other conversion objectives as micro conversions. The most important conversion objective is identified as the macro conversion. Now, from an e-commerce site, as I told you, online sales could be your most important conversion objective. So that is identified as your macro conversion objective, right? That is the macro conversion. The other 98% of the people who do not buy from you online with during that visit, during that session, they may do whole lot of other activities, not all of them. Some of them will do whole lot of other activities, as I told you. Those activities are identified as macro conversion activities, right? What are these macro conversion activities? As I told you, newsletter sign-ups, social media sharing, liking, commenting, and sharing, watching videos, using various tools on your website, size tools, calculation tools, calculators, PDF downloads, live chat, add to cart, add to wish list, customize products, find store locations. That's another very important thing. They may not be ready to buy from your website, but they come to your website to find your local store locations. And your website is helping these people to direct them, guide them to your local stores, and the local store sales will be in will go up because of the information that you publish, because of the reviews you publish, because of the videos of the products you publish. So offline sales will be influenced by your online activities. Reading reviews, submitting reviews and surveys, viewing about us page. So all these activities, engagement activities, indicate that your users are still engaging with you, with your brand, with your products through your website. So these are some important micro conversion objectives for you. Okay. So I hope, like, if you are running a website, if you are managing a website now, you have to think of your macro conversion. What is your most important conversion activity? There could be one, like mainly one most important conversion activity. Then you need to define what are your micro conversion activities, and then you need to use a platform or a service like Google Analytics to measure the effectiveness of all these conversion activities. So now in your Google Analytics classroom session, again you will be using most of these. You will learn actually most of these reports. Now in this video session, I'm just going to give you an introduction only. Now, as I told you, Google Analytics is a free service provided by Google for digital marketers. And as I told you before, you have to get, or you have to set up the account first. When you set up the accounts, you get this Google Analytics tracking code, the JavaScript code that I discussed in the previous video. So you have to add this code to each and every web page in your website. And when that is done, you basically can track a wealth of information about the visitors and their activities on your website. Now, this information, these reports that they collected, that Google Analytics collects, are organized here. When you log into your Google Analytics account, on your left hand side, there are four very important tabs or sections where you will learn all this information. Now, for the moment, forget about these other menu items. Just concentrate on these four report sections. Altogether, within these reports, you might find about 50 different reports. Don't worry, don't get exhausted by the amount of data, the number of reports and charts and tables you have. When you understand the concept, when you understand the logic of these reports, it will be very, very easy for you to uh, analyze these reports and find some very useful, insightful information about the performance of your website and campaigns and about your users. Audience, you have first audience report. In this audience report, in the overview report, you find how many sessions or how many visits. If you find the word session or visit, they both are the same. Now in this case, for a given period, this website has 4.9 million sessions. So in other words, 4.9 million visits, right? And for the same period, they have had 2.4 million users. Now, what is the difference between session and users? Let's say I visit your website today morning. That is a one visit. That is a one session. And again, I visit your website tonight. That is a second visit. That is the second session. Again, in another 3 months, I come to your website. That is my third visit or third session. But I have had three sessions or three visits to your website within a 3 months period, but there was only one single user. So users means the individuals, number of hits. Sessions means, or visit means, the number of times that they have visited your website. Page views means if I come to your website and view your very first page, whatever the page that I landed on, and then I click through to another page, that is my second page view. If I click through to another page, that is my third page view. Likewise, if I am going to view or click on 10 different links and going to view 10 different pages, then that is going to result 10 page views, right? Now in this case, you understand there have been almost 5 million sessions, right? Was almost 5 million sessions or visits made by 2 point, let's say 2.5 million users. So that means I'm just rounding up these numbers, right? 2.5 million users made 5 million sessions, which means as an average one person may have visited at least twice to this website, right? That is why you have 5 million sessions and 2.5 million users, and they have done, let's say, for our calculation purpose, 10 million in this case, 10 million page views, right? So 10 million page views done in 5 million sessions. So within a session, as an average, one person has viewed two pages, right? Total 10 million page views by 5 million sessions. So within a session, within one visit, a user has visited two pages. So that is what you see here. Number of pages, page views divided by session. Say it is 1.88 because 9 million divided by 4.9 million in this case. So it's 1.88, or in other words, let's say two page views per session. And the meaning of this is average session duration. One session or one visit lasted about 1 minute and 50 seconds, or let's say 2 minutes, right? So one person or one session, one visit has lasted average about 2 minutes. And bounce rate, I'll come to that later. Actually, previously also I discussed. Now, these 5 million users have, when they come to your website, they may have entered the website through your home page or through your category pages or through your article pages or through your video pages. I don't know, they would have come to your website, visited your website through so many different pages you have had in your website. The bounce rate is after landing on your website, after visiting your website on the very first page, if they don't go further, if they don't move further, if they are not clicking through to another page, which means if they just exit after their first visit, after their first page view, that is a bounce rate. That is a bounce. Now in this case, for this website, it has almost a 70% bounce rate, which means out of 100 visitors coming to their website, 70% of them don't go beyond the first page they view. Now 70% bounce rate is, for any website, is actually not a really good bounce rate, right? Ideally, irrespective of the industry, you need to keep your bounce rate somewhere around 40%, or it could be sometimes 50%. If your bounce rate is always below 40%, that is treated as a good bounce rate, right? But depending on different industries, now e-commerce sites normally have an average fairly lower bounce rate. News publication sites, sites which are publishing articles, they normally have fairly high average bounce rates, normally over 60%. So different industries have different bounce rates. So when you learn further, when you use these reports again and again with your future marketing activities, then you will realize what is an acceptable bounce rate for you, and what is the reason for certain changes in your bounce rate. But for now, in this session, the objective is you should understand the meaning of a bounce rate, right? So in the audience report, you learn most of the things about your customers, from where they are coming from, which mobile device, is it Apple or Samsung Galaxy. All these information can be tracked. Are they male, female, which age category, from which geographical location, what is the operating system in their computer, is it Android or is it something else. All this information can be tracked in these other reports that you can see here, right? And after the the audience report, going back here, there's another report section here called acquisition. Acquisition means from what channels, through which channels these visitors have come to your website. Now look at this report, for example. This particular website has got 48,000 visitors for a given period, let's say a month. These 48,000 visitors have come from, now this report gives you the channel breakdown, right? Organic search means SEO, 19,000. Paid search, 14,000. From email campaigns, 7,000. Direct visitors, this means people who have directly come to your website without going through Google or paid search or email campaigns, right? Now, you will learn further in your classroom session. Now, direct means people who have directly typed your website address in their browser, or this could include all visitors where Google Analytics cannot identify the source, cannot identify the channel. Most of the cases, Google can identify from which channel users are coming. But if Google Analytics cannot identify the user channel, then it will be classified as direct. Referral means from another third-party website. If some other, like now, other third-party websites are referring traffic, referring visits to your website, they are identified as referral traffic. Social means through social media channels. Others means various other types of channels which are not classified properly. But the source can be identified. But even though the source can be identified, sometimes Google may group all these together and put them as other channels, right? So the traffic sources and behavioral metrics in this case, now you can see these 48,000 visitors for a given month, what is their breakdown, and now you can break down that 56% bounce rate through different channels as well. Now here you see, now organic search visitors having a higher bounce rate than, for example, visitors coming from email campaigns. So visitors coming from email campaigns actually are performing better because their bounce rate is really low, very good, which means these people are engaging heavily with your websites compared to the users coming from Google SEO channels, where the bounce rate is 67%. Now look at the conversion rate. Now this is an e-commerce site. I told you they have a really good conversion rate, which is 6.3% conversion rate. Out of 100 people, 6 of them are actually buying something from that website. Now this is actually an average. Now these reports give you the conversion rate of each channel. Now emails, for example, having a really good conversion rate of 10%. And SEO channels have actually less than half of that, 4%. Social channels have just almost 2%. Now you know each channel actually is having a different sort of a performance, ability to drive traffic and ability to convert traffic. So their effectiveness is different. So when you allocate your budget, you can definitely make wise decisions based on the engagement levels as well as the conversion rates of these campaigns, right? So these are the benefits of having analytics reports like this, detailed reports, so you know the performance success of not just the overall website, but your traffic channels and your segments and all these other aspects as well. Landing pages. Now, I talked about landing pages quite a lot in my previous discussions in the under the same topic, actually analytics topic. Now, let's talk about landing pages a bit more. Now, why do landing pages matter? What is actually a landing page? Sometimes people misunderstand landing, the definition of landing pages. Some believe your home page is always the most important landing page, or that is the one and only landing page in your website. That is not the case. Your home page is just one page only, right? There are lots of, if it is an e-commerce site, for example, odell.lk. Odell.lk has a home page, and then they have category pages, right? Homewares, clothing, gift items, I don't know, kids items. So they have different categories. Under homewares, they will have, say, bed linen, curtains, what else? Home decorations. Under fashion, they will have men's fashion and women's fashion. Under women's fashion, they will have t-shirts and denims and so on and so forth. And under kids, they will have toys and this and that. All these are category pages. Under each and every category, you may have subcategories. Okay, or you may have your individual products, hundreds or thousands of different products. So this is your website structure. For example, depending on the visitor's entry point, all these are important pages. Some customers may come directly to your home page and then browse the products and services. Some might type something onto Google and may find your category page and enter your website via category pages. Some other customers may type something onto Google and come to your website via a subcategory page. Another customer may click on an EDM, and EDM means direct mail, electronic direct mail, or email campaign, and directly come to your product page, right? Product page. Another customer would have read an article somewhere in your website, so they come to the article page. So do you realize, out of total visitors, different customers in different groups, different types of customers, depending on the channel they are coming, entering your websites via different pages. So for this customer, product page is his landing page. For this customer, the article page is their landing page. For this customer, home page is his landing page. So the landing page is the very first page that you land on a particular website. Why these pages are important? Now you need to understand, the very first page that they look at on your website, they create the first impression through the content they see on that page. So that is the very first moment of truth. The most important, probably 2 to 5 seconds you have to create a really good impression about your products, about your company, about your website. If your website is really crappy, badly designed, no user experience, taking a lot of time to load, they can't find the right information, they can't navigate through the website, then the first impression is going to be very problematic. It is not going to be a first impression. So the one of the most important objective of your landing pages, whatever the page it is to create a very good first impression for your customer. So you have to have good user experience, good designs, good colors, good images, and really good loading speed and everything, enough information. The second most important thing, role or objective of a landing page is to communicate to the user that they have come to the right place. Now, I told you, users have many different objectives, right? Entertainment, information objectives, social networking objectives, and transactional objectives. So they must be searching something, they must be trying to solve their problem. And you have your own organizational objectives. When they land on your website, they should feel that they have come to the right place. So the right type of information should be available. It could be a button, it could be a nice image, it could be a link, it could be a paragraph, it could be a video, anything. But the information is presented nicely, effectively, so that they understand, okay, this is what I wanted. The third objective is, even if they can't find what they want, your website navigation structure should be easily taking that user to the next step in your website. Okay, they came to the website, you should not let them bounce, you should not let them exit your website, you should take them to the next page, next action. As I told you again, it could be another button, it could be a link, anything. It could, there should, you should have a call to action, you should have an invitation for the user to take an action on your website. So we call it the call to action. So your landing pages should meet all these requirements. They should create the really good first impression. They should communicate to the customers that they have come to the right place by providing the right type of information. And your landing pages should guide the user from one page to another until they achieve their objectives. If you don't do this, then only your bounce rate is going to be very, very high on your website, right? Now, under behavior report section, now I talked about audience report, I talked about very briefly, I talked about acquisition reports. The third report category section is called behavior report. This report, for example, there is a report called landing page report. There you can identify through which pages people have come to your website. So don't always think all your visitors will always come to your home page and then go to the other pages. Now, in this case, out of, let's say, 48,000, let's say 50,000, nearly 10,000 visitors have come from your home page. So that is only 20% of your visitors. There are another 80% of the visitors who have many other come through many other pages, right? So therefore you need to understand the entry point in your website, and are they doing the right thing for your customers. Those three important things that I mentioned. And then you should be able to measure these bounce rates of these individual landing pages, the conversion rate of those people who came through those sites, right? Everything can be effective. Now, there are a lot of other metrics as well. You can leisurely go through them, and in the classroom session you may learn a lot on these other metrics as well. So as I told you, this is an introduction only. So under behavior report, there is this landing page report where you can understand how visitors have entered your website. That is what I wanted to teach you. Goal conversions. Now, goal conversions means, I told you, every website should have a goal. You have your marketing goals, organizational goals. If it is an e-commerce website, you need to sell something. If it is a lead generation website, you need to generate leads from that website. If it is a website where you sell advertising revenue, your main objective should be to get more and more people to read your content and spend a lot of time on your website. If they spend a lot of time on your website, that means you can display more and more advertisements. So when people spend more time, their engagement goes up, which means you will earn more and more ad revenue, right? So for all these things, you should have an objective. I told you, for an e-commerce website, the most important objective is selling products or services on that website. So for that, you have a conversion rate that is called e-commerce conversion rate. So those reports are there under conversion reports. I talked about four different report sections: audience report section, acquisition report section, behavior report section, and conversion report section. That is what you basically achieve, the final objective. Now, in these reports, you can see, you can analyze your conversions in detail. If it is an e-commerce website, your transaction rate is your conversion rate. If it is a lead generation website, the conversion rate could be the number of people who have completed the form, submitted the details, right? Likewise, if it is a website that is selling advertising revenue for their clients, your objective could be having more and more people to spend time on your website, as I told you. So the objective could be, say for example, minimum 5-page views per session. Every user, you want them to view at least 5 pages in your website, for example. So that could be your objective. Or you want to keep at least one user at least 5 minutes on your website. That could be your objective. So you can set up your own objectives, and then you can calculate the success rate of those objectives within Google Analytics. So I believe now you have a very basic but a good comprehensive idea of these four different types of reports in Google Analytics, and what are the definitions or meanings of those metrics, like visits and users and bounce rates and conversion rate, session duration. These are the key metrics we normally look at. Right. Now, coming to the latter part of the discussion, with all these reports, what I want you to understand is the objective of all these actually to analyze data, not just for the sake of analyzing. Your analysis should result in insights, some new things that you discover, things that you didn't know before, but these new insights should be actionable. You should be able to take an action from these analysis, from these findings. Otherwise, we will be spending whole lot of time on looking at your reports, reading reports, and creating graphs and everything. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what to do, then there is no problem. I mean, no use actually. So that is a problem. So the purpose of all these web analytics activities should be to analyze your data for actionable insights. You should be able to either change your website, change your campaigns, change your landing pages. When I say change campaigns, it could be allocating budgets to different channels based on their success rate, or changing the wordings in your campaign. When you do an A/B test, you understand that one type of wording is working better than the other wording. So you then change the wording. So that is what I'm saying. With these numbers, with these figures, reports, and everything, at the end of the day, you should be able to take an action. So most of the people, analytics is something like this. They just look at reports, they just look at raw data, they don't know what to do. But as digital marketers, future digital marketers, or students who learn digital marketing through these courses, you should realize that this should you should not be a person like this. Instead of that, you should actually follow this process. Yes, you are looking at data. What is the meaning of this data? It is not just a big wall of data. Behind this big wall, you should understand there are a whole lot of events happening within your website, within your campaign, within your company. Series of events. These reports are actually a measurable outcome of all these events happening within the website. So you should be able to I understand what events have happened by looking at these reports. These events could be positive, these events could have been negative. So then your objective is to identify why that happened, why the positive things happen, why the negative things happen. If you know why your conversion rate improved, because you change your campaign. If you know why your bounce rate is going up, because your loading speed is really really bad, right? So there could be positive events, there could be negative events. If you know it is positive, you need to dig deeper and understand why, the reason why. If it is negative, again you need to understand the reason why. How do you do that? You have to take a very close look at your reports, not just the surface. You have to analyze these reports very closely, right? When you analyze these reports, only you will find something new, insights. That is what you call insights, something that you didn't know before. So when you discover something new, the next most important thing is you should be able to take an action on that. So that is what I mean. You should be a digital marketer, not like this. You should be a digital marketer like this, who understand the whole process here and finally take an action based on the insight that you have generated. That should be the end result of the entire analysis and analytics activities you do. So that is what I discussed here. So that brings the end to this discussion, to this introductory session on Google Analytics and defining success your digital marketing campaigns. And as I told you, in the next classroom discussion, you will learn a lot about the technical aspects of setting up your Google Analytics account and Google Tag Manager account. And you will also learn more about those reports. And my advice for you is actually to spend enough time with these reports and try to understand what they say, what they mean, and try to make decisions with your campaigns, within your websites, within your company, and see the improvements you achieve again with your analytics reports. If you have any questions, I'm always available to answer through all the communication channels available. It could be Facebook, it could be other chat discussions happening online, or you can connect me through LinkedIn as well. I'll wish you all the best again for your future studies, activities, and finally for your course. And I hope I'll see you all as graduates in this postgraduate diploma in this digital marketing course. Okay, all the best then. Thank you.